All right, we have 179 of you right now, and welcome to Transition to Platinum. Our goal here is to show you the process of switching from the Classic, which was created in Flash, over to the Platinum version, which was created in HTML5. And this is the help guide that's in our new support help guide, Transition to Platinum. And this is basically what I'll be covering today. And as you can see, if I scroll down, you're going to see in the help guide itself kind of the equivalent of the Classic versus the Platinum based on role. And at the very end, there's some how-tos, and I'll probably cover some of these how-tos while we're inside of Platinum as we go. If I skip one, I apologize. I should be able to cover them all. All right, so let's get back to the top of the help guide. And now I'm just going to transition over to what you're probably used to seeing when you log in. First, let me just quick make sure there's all right, everybody can hear, good. Here is a typical Classic setup for a creative. They have their My Task widget, their time sheets open to add their time entries. We've got your weather widget up in the top right-hand corner, a little sticky note tool, your daily feed, and the company calendar. If you're not a creative, and you're more of like a project manager, you might have a different setup on your Classic desktop using like active projects as kind of the center focus. And in Platinum, there's a screen called Projects, which is very similar to your Active Projects widget. And I'm just going to transition over to Billing Desktop, Purchasing Desktop, and then Accounting Desktop. Not everybody's going to have all the same widgets, but I'm just kind of giving you an example of what you might typically see based on your role in your organization. Now I'm going to flip over to Platinum, and here's the Platinum Today Creatives page, Project Manager Today page, and everybody has their own Today page based on role, and I'll go into the toolbar and the various apps that are behind your main menu. But I just want to kind of get you comfortable with each role has their own Today page. So if I'm going over to Resource Manager, it's kind of a subset of Project Manager. There is no Today page for a standalone Resource Manager. They would likely be using the Today PM page as their main page. And Billing has its own Today page. And I'll be going into these pages more in depth in a little bit, but just kind of giving everybody a glance at if your role is popping up, you can kind of see here if you're the purchasing manager, this is probably what you're going to be looking at. Media has its own Today page as well. And for your CPA, bookkeeper, accountant, they also have their own Today page. There is a page also for the admin managers. These are the people who are the administrator of Workamajig for your organization. And so if I click on their Today page, it's more just about email log, system log, expense reports, and timesheets, high-level information that the people that are in the other roles typically might not need access to. Also, this is where your admin manager would access the back-end setup of the system under admin manager, system setup. Very similar if I went to your Classic, I went to the main menu, admin manager, system setup. Going back to where we started, Creatives Today. Creatives Today, there we go. All right, all right, I'm going to try to speak louder. Somebody said they're not able to hear me that well. Hopefully this is better. Are you guys able to hear me now that I'm speaking louder? All right, this is test. Okay, great. Thank you. I will continue to speak louder. Apologize for that. There is one more catch-all called Everyone, and that has timesheets, calendar, expense report, and the report center, and kind of a digital post-it note tool. And the Everyone apps used to be underneath all of the other apps that we had, so many of them. On some of them, it just got to be too many. So we just created a catch-all for everyone, and that you can just quickly get to those tools that are used across multiple roles. Sorry. So going back to the Creatives Today page, this is the default landing page of everybody that is logging into Platinum versus Classic. And right at the top of the help guide, it gives you access to Platinum from Classic. You can see here the Classic login is app.workamajig.com for anybody that's on the app server. And if that same team moves over to Platinum, the only change they make is adding the /platinum to the end of their login URL. So it's still app.workamajig.com/platinum. That takes you to this screen versus this screen. This toolbar at the top has your name listed in the top right-hand corner, and the first thing I always show all my clients is clicking on your name allows you to change where you land when you log in the next time. So if I log in as Randy, my default is to the Today Creatives page, and that's where I land. If I wanted to land on the Project Manager Today page when I log in, I can click that link here, scroll down till I see Project Manager, and change that to the Today PM, and it would change Today PM, and then when I log in, I would land here instead. So creatives typically are wanting to use the Today Creatives page, and so that's where we default everything to start. All right, talking to the toolbar, I've renamed Workamajig to Jiggy. You have the ability in the back end to rename that if you choose to, your own company name or whatever. But this toolbar along the top starts with this bell. And this is your notification bell, very similar to the tool in Classic called Approvals, or the My Items to Approve widget. This notification bell, when you click on it, you can see that right now I have 92 things over 7 years that I haven't addressed. This is my sandbox from 2013. I'm still using it today, so that's why I have a lot of information here that just hasn't been touched. If I click on my notification bell, I have a bunch of items to approve, some rejected items, some unsubmitted items. And as new things come in, that number in white but in the red box will increase. Okay. Audio dropped out. Did audio drop out for everyone or just a single person? If anybody just wants to reply that they can still hear me, that would be great. All right, I can hear. Perfect. Thank you, guys. So your notifications bell announcement is basically the red box, that there is something in there. If you cleared everything out, you would just see the white bell, no red box, and no number inside that red box. The next item right next to it is the global search tool, which is very similar to your global search tool here in Classic. It is faster than the search tool in Classic, so that's a benefit. But again, it's just the same thing. If I type in test here, anything with TEST in the system across 7 years of information is lots of test data in there. You also have your recent tab here, similar to the very first option in Classic under your main menu, is that recent tab. Quickly get to things that you've touched recently. The new tool that we added is for multitasking, because right now you can see I'm on the Today Creatives page over there on the left-hand side, and my panel slid out from the right-hand side when I clicked on the search tool, and I'm going to move to views. These views are across all different roles, and so you can kind of scroll down and see the roles that you are and all the views that are in the system based on your role. So if I want to quickly look up a contact, I don't have to navigate to the salesperson contacts list. I could still maintain my location on the Today Creatives and instead use the Global Search Views tool and look up my contacts. This is where I'm going to show you your first trick. So here's my list of contacts. Look something up for somebody, close that down, and I didn't lose my place. I can just continue to work over there. One thing I want to show you now is look at the top of the screen where my tabs are, and I'm going to go ahead and open up that contacts list. I'm on a PC keyboard. I'm holding down the control key on my keyboard, and I'm going to left click all contacts. That's opening up a new tab on the top. So now I have a tab which I can do my search and bring up my contacts list, and now I can just bounce back and forth between those two windows or tabs. And if I actually wanted to pull this down, I could pull this down and just create its own separate window and still have that on the screen. And I can do that with multiple windows. So that is one of the tips and tricks from the help guide that I just showed you, that this allows you to actually create an extra tab at the top because we don't have extra windows like we do in the classic version. It's tab based. So going back, close that contacts window. And that's just a really awesome tool for people to be able to quickly look something up in the system without losing their place on the left-hand side of the screen. You also have the ability to create something new, just like you can look up something already in the system. The plus button right next to that search tool allows you to add a new contact or add a new project, again, without losing your place over here and navigating to a different section of the system. So these two tools were not in the system when we first created Platinum, but we got feedback from several clients that said, hey, we want this available, and so we made that available as a list of views and the new plus button on the top. It's been around now probably for 18 months. Clicking on your name, this is what you're going to probably want to address early on when you transition to Platinum. This is very similar to, in Classic, clicking on the My Settings tab, just to kind of give you a relationship of where we are in Platinum compared to where we are in Classic at this time. This is where I can edit my contact information if I change my phone number or something to that effect, or if I want to update my password, create a new password, I can do that in here, as well as if I'm traveling, I can change my time zone so the meetings pop in the new time zone that I'm landing in. And also this is where you're going to log out if you want to log out, and also where you're going to open the help guide. If I click on more, open help guide is right there at the top. One thing that you're noticing that's different in Classic compared to Classic is you can see my face next to my name in the top right hand corner. That is because I added my image here, and you can see that right next to this. Add an image, navigate to your, it's kind of slow, there we go. Navigate to your network drive or your hard drive, update or upload your image, and that will replace the question mark that's in the top right hand corner with that image that you uploaded. If you don't like your avatar, you can always go to more and remove avatar, and it will turn your face back into just a question mark. This face, that whatever you upload, this image, will show up in the project diary as well, so you have a face with a name when you're doing conversations, which is a diary post in Platinum. Or in Classic, there was a diary post. We still refer to them as diary posts in Platinum, but they're kind of under the umbrella of conversations. So that is, and just a reminder, this is again where you change your default page. If you came in late, you can click this Today page and decide that you want to land on some other default page when you first log into Workamajig. The last thing that I want to show you on this, for navigation purposes, is the little blue eye in there allows you to self-learn. If I click that blue eye, it pops up these walkthroughs or walk-me's, and you can kind of see it has everyone, salesperson, project managers, and basically the same roles that you would see if you clicked on the main menu. So if I want to see, for a salesperson, how do I add a new lead or convert a lead to a contact, and I click that, it will walk me click by click how to accomplish that particular task. Project managers create a project template, create a project and estimate from a schedule, add a deliverable. All of those self-help tools are available to you by clicking that little eye. All right, I'm going to all right, somebody raised their hand, but I can't see who raised their hand, and there's now 318 of you. So I'm just, if I click on that, Raising the hand is, I'm clicking on the raising the hand thing and nothing's coming up. So I apologize if you have a question, and I'm going to try to see if there's any other way. Here's the chat. For the timesheet, are you able to see full month's timesheet? The answer is no. You can see daily and weekly. All right, so, but I am going to cover timesheets in just a moment. So for transitioning from Classic to Platinum, I kind of gave you the overview of the user interface and how to move around in the software in Platinum. Now I'm going to kind of address each of the Today pages for each one of the roles. So if you're looking at the Today Creatives page, you can kind of see it's very task-centric. You have your tasks, and these are your task cards, which kind of are the equivalent of your task assignments in your My Task widget in Classic. We have a different view for those of you that like the Classic My Task widget. Right here next to the task card view is the grid view. So the same tasks are listed just in a grid format, similar to the My Task widget, and you can do the same time entry clicking in the grid and adding hours and comments and hitting save. That is the same as in a task card, clicking on the little clock to add time or timers, add a new time entry, putting in your hours. Accomplishing the same goal and just doing it from two different ways. Can I print a list of my assignments? You do have the ability to, if you have access to the assignments area, you can go up to your views tool. In project management, you have assignments, and then here's all assignments, and I've created one called all assignments grouped by staff, and I'm just going to answer that person's question real quick just by doing a quick all assignments view here. And I could print this out, and here I'm showing it all grouped by staff, but you could look up only yourself and print out your own list of assignments. Good question. After I enter some time, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little more time to this time entry here. Just work another half an hour on it, put in 0.5. I can put in a comment or not. I'm not requiring comments. And I'm hitting save. And so now I have a second time entry for today, and it's the same task. I'm going to update my percentage complete from 50% to 60%, and all of this gets updated in the project schedule, so the PM will know that you are 60% done, because if the PM goes into the project and looks at the schedule, they can see within any of the assignments what percentage complete somebody has marked their particular task assignment. As soon as they mark their assignment 100% complete, this bar turns to 100 and is solid blue. And as soon as everybody marks their task assignment complete, then that task would be considered 100% complete. I just demonstrated there that you have access to the project just by clicking that project link there that takes you to the project. If I click the white space in the task card, that opens up more details for the task assignment itself. If there was any to-dos, they would be listed here, but you can see you have your project overview, your project setup, schedule, project team, etc. All listed, with the task card information just by clicking on the white space there. I'm going to take a quick look. How do I update the timesheet from daily to weekly? I haven't opened up the timesheet. I'll show you that in just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and mark this task 100% complete now, and it will disappear from my view. Yes, I want to consider it 100% done. That task card has now disappeared, and it's no longer on my plate because I marked it 100% complete. I'm done with it. If I want to see my time that I've entered for today, I can see those time entries right here below the schedule. But if I click on time entered for today in the top right-hand corner, here's my timesheet for the day. Here's the week view. Here's the day view. And if I want to look at yesterday's timesheet, I can back that up. I didn't enter any time yesterday, but if I did, it would show up here. Here's today's date. Right next to the date is the Open Timesheets tool, and as soon as I click Open Timesheets, here's all my timesheets from 2013 until today. And if I am my own timesheet approver, so I have the approved box showing here. if somebody else was your approver, you would see submit and you would click submit and it would send it to your approver for approval. And that person, when they log in, they would see that timesheet behind their notification bell. Just take a quick glance here. We can see how much time. Yes, you get any. That's Ryan. If you want to submit a enhancement request to add a feature to show monthly, just send that to support@workamajig.com. That's going to get routed to your account manager, and your account manager will help you get that enhancement request submitted. Thanks for asking. So once I've completed my hours for the day, I would go ahead and typically open up my timesheet and then scroll down to the timesheet that I just did and either submit it or approve my time at the end of the day. Highly recommend that when you are training your staff that there is no tiered approvals. You do have a backup approver that would also get them if they're set up as your backup approver, but there is no tiered John Doe approves and then Jane Doe approves final approval. There is no setup. But again, if you want that as a feature, you now know how to submit an enhancement request to support@workamajig.com. So with your timesheet now submitted, your all of your tasks that you worked on, if you completed those tasks, this is what I mean by training your staff to do daily time entry, if possible. That's the best, and then highlighting the fact that if they don't mark their tasks complete, the project manager does not know that their tasks are complete. But if they do mark their tasks complete, then the project manager knows they're done, and they don't have to hound them to ask them if they are done with their task or not, and they just forgot to mark it complete. So best practice is daily time entry, along with when you're done with your task, make sure you mark it 100% complete. And that really is also goes for inside marketing teams where you might not be entering time for whatever reason. You just need to know that a task is done. You just emphasize that when you're done with your task, you don't have to do your time entry, but please mark your task complete. All right, we're at 23 minutes in, and that's pretty much your Today Creatives tool. You can see that you do have a daily feed over here, and you can see what's happening in the system. This refreshes every 5 minutes on its own, but if you force a refresh of your browser, if there's anything that I may have done since that time, now you can see that those marking those tasks complete and updating the percent complete have been tracked in the daily feed. The next thing I want to show you is if your role is not creative and you are a project manager, then your project manager today page is where most of your focus is probably going to be spent during the day. But you also have the ability, if you like, because I know some people prefer just to have their active project widget up in Classic. So this is very similar to the active project widget in Classic. It's just the HTML5 version of that. And you do have some options under the More button, and you'll see More buttons everywhere because we tried to keep it simple in Platinum, where we put most of the stuff everybody needs to know on the page, but we hid the stuff that maybe 20% of the people use behind More buttons, so it just doesn't clutter up the page as much. Display options are talking about what projects do I want to see when I'm looking at this page. Right now I only saw where my open assignments only and only projects where I am on the team. So if I unchecked those boxes, many more projects would show up. I'm only showing those projects right now where I have open assignments and I'm also on the project team. And there's additional filters down below. I'm going to check chat real quick. How do you open a new tab again? Oh, okay. New tab. Almost anything that you click on. I'm going to test this right here. Yep. I just held down the control key. I think it's the command key on a Mac, and I left clicked my mouse on the media test print ad project, and it opened up that as a new tab. So hopefully that answered your question on. It's basically also if you want to use the views, because that's where I was, and maybe that's what you're talking about. If I go into projects views and I hold down the control key and left click all projects, that view would show up as a new tab. Thanks for asking. I won't be walking through creating invoices for a project today, but I should just make a global announcement that all of your training in Workamajig moving from Classic to Platinum is free. So if you want to send an email to support@workamajig.com, again, that will get routed to your team's account manager, and that account manager will work with their scheduler to get a billing training, and that's where you would learn how to generate an invoice from a project. Okay, so back to the Project Manager Today page. Quick, yeah. Oh, Jiggy. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I was reading a chat question. You do have the ability to, if you're an administrator, you have the ability to customize menu setup so that you can control what apps you want to show when you are logging in. You can control and customize which ones show by using that custom setup I just showed you. Project Manager Today focus obviously is all on projects. So you've got unapproved purchase orders, open orders, estimates waiting for client approval, open requests for quote, unapproved project requests, approved requests with no projects. Items that are needing attention. Here's a little slide out if you don't want to enter your time as a project manager by clicking here and just inserting in a new row. And you like the creatives, you can slide that creatives panel out right here and do your time entry just like you were a creative without having to navigate to the creatives page. Also needing attention are projects with budget warnings, assignments due but not done, projects with schedule warnings, and open activities. Here's all the views that most project managers typically want to open. Again, this is a duplicate of this list over here, but just gives you quick access as project manager to get access to those views. Yes, this webinar is being recorded and it will be made available in the help guide. If you search webinars, there's past and upcoming that you can look at the past ones, and this will become a past one soon. Your project manager also, when they move to the projects page, you can quickly bring up any of these projects in this list just by clicking, and you can go into the schedule or billing or whatever you want. But this is just another tool that gives you access to the same list of projects based on your display options, where you're looking at the criteria based on what you select over here. So Project Manager Today in conjunction with Project Manager Projects is probably where you're going to spend most of your time as a project manager. I'm not going to be able to take too many more questions, we're going to run out of time. Yep, that's a good question. If I go back to your Project Manager Projects, if I am an administrator, I can go into the system settings and I can click the edit columns option here. And the ones with the checkboxes are the ones that are going to show. And there's a lot more that I could show that I'm not showing. And the display order is right next to the fields button. And this is the order, and you can see project, full name, description, financial status. This is the order that you're ordering those columns in. Good question. All right, so that's your project manager tool set. You also have in Platinum, you have your project manager dashboard. I've got 7 years worth of data in here. This might take a second to load. Hopefully not too long. There we go. So here's my project request counts, my project summary, new project, total project, active and completed. And now you can see a lot more color than you did in Classic. Hours by project type, hours by client. If you're using divisions, now you can see your billings by client. So these graphs here are not available in Classic. Project managers also have access to their campaigns if you're using campaigns. And this is a brand new deliverables tool. You have access to all of your deliverables from there as well, and that's new. Just as a quick reminder, your resource manager tools for staff schedule and traffic calendar, those are basically the same tools that are in Classic. This one can take time to load. Again, I have 7 years worth of data in here, hoping that it loads. Doesn't take too long. But I just want to show you that this is for your project manager, an extension into the resource manager pool of available tools. And if this does take more than a minute, I'm going to just cancel out and bring up and skip that and just not waste time more than a minute in trying to get that to load because there is so much data. All right, I think that's going to take too long, so I'm not going to load that, but it is your resource tool. This is your traffic calendar, and it's the same as in Classic. You select all of your filter options for tasks and projects and staff, and then you run that based on your search criteria. So right now I'm just looking for everything that's in progress this month and is incomplete. Do a quick run, search, and this is going to group all of my projects by client and then show the tasks. I need to find a cleaner sandbox with less data in it to search on. Come on. There we go. So this is a tool that really is excellent for project managers who are updating tasks across multiple projects frequently. All of these are listed together. So if I wanted to go to this task, make an adjustment, hit save, go down to this task, make an adjustment, hit save, scroll down to my other client, their project and their task assignment, you can kind of see how quickly I can jump from project to project and use the traffic calendar to accomplish that. And then if I hit the publish button, it's going to capture those settings that I've selected in here and put that over here as a published calendar, and that will allow you to, and you can kind of see your different checkboxes checked based on what you saved as your published calendar. All right, so that is your resource management. Sorry the staff schedule took too long, but it looks just like the staff schedule for the most part that's in Classic. Billing today. There's your billing worksheets generator. How many worksheets are already in review? 10. Ready to create invoices from those worksheets? I have 3. My mass billing is now available. I've got my time and materials, my fixed fee and retainer, and media, all based to bill as of today's date. If I wanted to say I'm billing January, I would just switch this and see what's all billable based on January 31st date. I also have invoices waiting to be submitted, waiting for approval, invoices to print or email, scheduled invoices, and invoices I can pay by credit card. Again, you have the common views that a billing manager might need access to, and we've included the billing reports that are typically stored in the Everyone Report Center. You have the same set of reports that billing folks might use, billing managers, quick access to those views and reports down here. If I wanted to create something new in billing, I just hit the plus button. Add a new client, add a billing worksheet or an invoice, a project advance bill, a new retainer or receipt, or start a conversation, or even enter a new time entry or start a timer from the billing today page. I can hit that plus button there. Display options also allow you to just exclude meetings from the following calendars. That's not a big bunch of options for your today billing because everything's basically listed for you. But you do have access to the daily feed for billing as well. I haven't billed anything. Purchasing, you have your purchasing desktop set up in Classic. This is basically all of that same types of widgets are all put on this page as well. I've got today purchasing, I've got my open items, open requests for quotes, open orders and unapproved orders. If I'm using the credit card connector, I can open up my credit card connector. I don't have one set up, but you can see I do have an Amex card there, but no charges in the system. But if they were there, I could process those charges and link them to projects and items, and then process them and create credit card charges from those downloaded transactions that come in every midnight. What do I have to pay as of this date, or what do I have to pay as January 31st if I want to, paying everything back from January? Expense reports, vendor invoices, and credit cards. I have 3 checks to print as well. So all the tools that you use in Classic through the widgets or the menu are kind of sitting right here on the left-hand side of your Today Purchasing page. And once again, you've got views related to purchasing managers and the purchasing reports. Media has its own Today page as well. So if your team is also involved in broadcast orders and print orders, you've got access to those in your Media Today page. You got your space, close, materials, due dates, and once again, your views and reports related to your role as a media manager. Going to look at the chat real quick. Your custom reports in Classic will show up in Platinum when you run them in Platinum as well, correct? Post directly to, if you use the credit card connector, does this post directly to the job? It downloads your transactions from your financial institution into the connector, and then your user of that card typically is granted access to go in and link those to the appropriate project and the item that was used for the card swipe. Good question. All right, going over to accounting. Today, accounting. If I don't get to your questions, forgive me. There is a lot of you in here today. We're up to 275 now. And just submit a question to support@workamajig.com, and once again, that gets routed to your team's account manager, and they will answer your question. Your CPA, bookkeeper, accountant are, this is their Today page. You've got your unapproved transactions. I have a lot of them over 7 years. 220 unposted transactions. This is where I could just quickly mass post. If I wanted to select items, I could go ahead and quickly post all of those unposted transactions from there. I've got 2 scheduled transactions. If I'm using work in progress or WIP, I can post my work in progress from here. I've got 7 open account reconciliations. Right now, both my AR and AP are out of balance, and they probably have been out of balance for 7 years. You also can see on your Today accounting page your account balances. And again, access to the views that most of your accountants would need access to, and then your financial reports are quickly accessible from here as well. If you didn't want to come here, you could go to the Everyone Report Center and open up your financials from there as well, if you didn't have access to the Accounting Today page, but they did give you access to run the reports. You do have that same access from the Everyone page as well. Admin Manager, just going to quickly show you a couple options in here. You've got your list of all your timesheets, my timesheets, all timesheets. If I just want to look up a specific person, I can look up, accounting guy might have something in there. Yep, it's got one timesheet. Expense reports, all open. I don't know if I have any open right now. Yep. So you have different, expense report views. Approved but not paid, paid. Let's see this out. Are all the reports that were on Classic Workamajig? I would say at least 90% of the reports that are in Classic are available in Platinum. I know there are a couple, don't know them off the top of my head, that aren't, but likely any custom report you create is going to be available in Platinum. But there are some of the fast, quick access toolbar reports that I don't think came over. But if you have a question about a specific one, again, just submit that to support@workamajig.com. System log is for an administrator to see what's been happening in the system. I'm just going to do a quick search across log month to date. 32,000 rows. Everything that I've done in my system this past month is now captured in my system log. My email log is basically looking to see what emails have been sent out of Workamajig. Also, quick access to your list of employee views. Your admin manager app does have a list of the employees as well here, and if you want to just open up your employee record, this is where you set up their, if they're an administrator of the system, their user ID, setting up their password, setting up their hourly cost, just like you would in Classic. This is just a different interface to get to the same information. Hey, does this person need to be added to all projects that are ever created? Do I require them to enter a timesheet? You know, all that same information is here. I got my notifications that I want this user to have, the default calendar setup, everything that you would see under administration of your employees in Classic is the same as it is in Platinum, just a different view. All right. System setup. I should just let you know that if you do have a bunch of data that you want to import from some other tool, typically if you're moving from Classic to Platinum, you're not going to do this, but if you're new, this is where you would come in and select which type of information you want to import: employees, contacts, clients, etc. All right, I'm going to go back to that's kind of the overview of all the different roles in the interface, but I do want to look at the tips and tricks at the end, because I think I only showed you a couple of them. Adjust column width, so I'm going to show you that in Platinum. So if I go into my views, projects, active projects view, run a search. This column here, you can see project name is getting cut off. Excuse me. Sorry about that. If I want to expand the project name column, I'm hovering over that column, and as soon as I turn from a single arrow to that double arrow and I left click, that opens up that column to shrink and grow. So that's how you change the width of your column that you're viewing in one of your views or your reports. All right, and just column width. I showed you the open the new tab or window. I showed you your multitasking options using the view. And show line details. So if you're looking at like an invoice in Platinum, views, billing, client invoices, all invoices, just make sure 325, open up, look at a line. This little button here, toggle detail line editor, that is what expands your line in Platinum. All right, so I have about 15 minutes for questions, so I'm going to go back to the chat. And if you have a question, I'll try to answer that. Side-by-side classic versus Platinum document will you be sending to all of us after today's call? I'll show you here, and I'll record this in the call. So if you're in Platinum and click on your name, I already showed you this, but open up the help guide. That opens up your help guide, and what you see when you first launch the help guide is just the standard page, and right at the top is search. And if you want to type in webinar and hit search, upcoming webinars and past webinars. So upcoming webinars, these are the ones that are in the future. Here's today's, and then if I go back, past webinars, there's a lot of these. You can see all of the different webinars we've done, I think since August or September of 2019. Let's go back to the main page and bring up my transition to Platinum. This is the person actually asked this, transition to Platinum. I can click that link right here and it'll pop open as well. So that's how you can get to your the same transition page that I've been talking about today. Can we change the layout of our schedules each project. That sounds like you're asking, can we create project templates? And if I show you this, this is your project list of project templates in Platinum is a separate table than your list of projects in Classic, because your list of projects in Classic included templates and projects. So we've separated that out. So now you can kind of see most of my T-ones are the ones that came from Classic, and the ones that don't have a T in front of them I created in Platinum most likely. So if, let me see if that is answering that person's question or not. Hopefully you can see. Yes, you can create invoices without a billing worksheet for sure. So when you're saying, can I change the schedule? I mean, if I already have a project and this is the schedule of that particular project, there's typically a template that already has all the schedule information in it. And when I create a new project from that template, it's going to duplicate whatever was in the template. If I wanted to just start a new project from scratch, I have that ability, but I can choose to either copy from a template or copy from another project, or just save and start a brand new project, and then that project's going to be blank and not have any tasks, but you still have the ability to drag and drop tasks from other templates or projects into your new schedule that you create, or you can manually just add a new schedule yourself. All right, going back up. Is there a people tab for each task in a project schedule? Yes. Let's go back open. I'll put one of my projects in my schedule. So here's all the tasks in the schedule. The dark or bolded ones are summary tasks, and the non-bolded ones are the subtasks under those summary tasks. And you can see in the assigned column, there's both an assigned full name and the assigned exact same thing. One just has the initials of the person, and the full name has obviously the full name. A lot of my clients don't want that assigned full name. Some of them did, so we added that as an option. Again, as an administrator, I can go to my more system settings, edit my columns, and I could take out my assigned full name by unchecking that box, and then that assigned full name would be gone. But to answer your question, yes, each one of your tasks has an assignment list, and that assignment could be one person or multiple people. All right. Next question, just giving you a time update. We have about 12 minutes. So go back in here. Can I expand the tabs to take up the whole screen, not just partial as it comes over from the left? So I don't have to use the scroll bar at the bottom, like example, review expense reports. For Susie Becker, I'm going to ask you to submit that to support@workamajig.com, because it's going to take me too long to try to show that in here. This might be able to go through with your account manager, but can you still apply advanced billings to client invoices for projects that are closing? Class that had an advanced billings tab in the client invoice to do that. Yes, you have the ability to apply advanced billings to client invoices. All right, next one. I'm going to scroll up. Can you customize the columns within the project schedule? I think I answered that, but just in case I didn't, I'll show you that again. That as long as you are an administrator, or the administrator has given you access to do this, to get to the system settings, this is where you're customizing your columns that you want to see out in your grid. So the ones without the boxes checked are not showing. The ones with the boxes are showing out there, and this is the display order of those. But just to let you know, if you wanted your accounting team to have certain columns, you could set up edit just for the security group called accounting. They might have 10 columns showing out here, but you want your creative production security group to be able to see only 5 columns. You could set up your columns based on security group as well. All right, going back to my chat, got 10 minutes. Where do we change a project status? Okay, let's go into your project. Multiple places in Platinum. The quickest way is under project details. I have my project status as production. If I click that, I can change it to whatever status I want. If I want to kind of go old school, I can go into the project settings, and I have my project status here. I typically just use the quick access there. Next question. Where do you change a product? Got that. Is there a way to see our own how Platinum works before doing the actual? Yes. Your question is there a way to see on our own how Platinum works before doing the actual transition? You have the ability today, if you normally log into, I'm on app 12, so if I only put in app12.workamajig.com without the Platinum on the end, it's going to take me to Classic. If you just throw in the extra /Platinum on the end, that's going to take you to the Platinum interface, which I'm showing you, which we're in right now. You already have the ability to log into either of them or both of them. I recommend if you're going to log into it twice, use two different browsers, one for Classic and one for Platinum. I wouldn't log in to Classic and Platinum using the same browser. But that you have the ability to go poke around and look around all you want. But it is the live database. Any change you make in Platinum will be seen in Classic, and any change you make in Classic will be seen in Platinum. Got a couple more, it looks like. Yep, so I'm going to go answer the estimate one. Probably have an estimate on that same project that I've been using. So I'll just add a new estimate, just because I already have 4 in there. But hit save. I have my labor tab here. And again, if you want your full project Platinum training, just again, support at workamajig.com. Your account manager will set up a training session for projects. But if I click on the labor link, here's my schedule, and I go up to more, I still have the pull from schedule. So any hours I put in my schedule will be auto-populated into here when I use that pull from schedule. So, yep, good question. They're all good questions, so I'll stop saying that. Salesperson, sure. Salesperson today page, it's all about conversations. I skipped it because there's not a lot to show. This is just your views or contacts, companies, conversations, opportunities, and leads, and all of your conversations. But they do have their own dashboard. Sorry, I did skip this, and it was not intentional. But this is your access to your leads. Same as equivalent if you went to sales and leads in Classic. When will Classic go away entirely? Well, until recently, most of my clients, I have about 100, they all thought it was going to end at the end of 2019, because that's what I thought and that's what I was telling them. So they all have an extra year beyond what I was telling them. You actually can use Classic until the end of 2020. And then Adobe is stopping support of Adobe Flash in 2020, so we won't be able to support the Classic version because they're not going to be supporting Adobe Flash any longer. All right. We have about 5 minutes left. Which dashboard view would you recommend for an account executive? Probably your sales for Scott Burns. Okay, I am just going to wait for you guys if you have any 5 more minutes. How do we revise an estimate on how do we revise an estimate? So let me go back to my estimate. Not schedule, sorry. Not schedule. Estimates. So here's an estimate that's already in on this project. I need to unapprove it first to make edits. And so if I wanted to go into the labor and adjust hours or something in my estimate, I have that ability. Or if I went into the schedule and I added another task with hours on it, I could go back into the labor, and then that task would now be in here, and I could pull from schedule again, and it would pull in those new hours for that new task. Will our custom reports templates automatically? Yeah, will our custom reports and templates automatically transfer to Platinum? Yes, Chris. Can you customize the main dashboard at all, or does everyone see everything? That one was asked earlier, but it's not. I don't mind going back. It's just quick. Admin manager, you're going to need to be an administrator to do this. So admin manager system setup. Under account information, which is the default first tab, under system options, you have custom menu setup, and this is where by security group you can set up your own unique custom menus. All right. How do you change the approver listed for an estimate? All right, let's go back. We've got lots of estimate questions. Let's open that one back up. As long as it's not approved, I can go into the more estimate settings. And the approver right now is me. If I want that to be somebody else, I would switch. Okay. Where do you add a person to a project team after the project has already started? Okay. Go to the team tab of the project. Add the plus button here, hit the plus button here, click it. And then here's your staff. So if I wanted to add another person from my staff, I could just check this box, add selected, and they would be over here on the project team. But you also could add client contacts. So if you want your client on the project, you could select them, and they could be on the project as well, or any contact in the system. Thank you, Drew. All right, we got about another minute. Oh, we're down to 182. All right. I run daily designer reports for Scrum every day. What I'm seeing in Platinum and staff schedules I can alter, so I can only see items with completed predecessors. Is there a way to do this? Nicole, I don't see your last name, but Nicole SH, and then it goes dot dot dot. Submit that one to support at workamajig.com for your account manager. I'm not going to have time to go into that one. How do you print a traffic report? On that one again, submit it to because I'm not positive what you mean by traffic report, because there's a lot of different types of traffic that I could print, but I'm not sure specifically which one. In Classic, we had an option for Excel downloads or PDFs. Yep. So if I'm basically almost anywhere in the system, and what's this going to do? Let's open up my list of contacts. That'll be easy. So have my list of contacts, and if I hit print, I've got those same options: export to CSV. Same for your employees list, clients list, etc. All right, probably have time for one more. Your expense reports are typically submitted to somebody else for approval. Once they've been submitted, um, then the person who is going to approve or reject that, they have access to it. It goes off of the plate of the person who submitted the expense report. But if you have access to admin manager, today managers, or under the views, expense reports, you can see all open, approved but not paid, paid, submitted and unapproved. So you can find your expense reports either going to the views expense reports, assuming you have access, or if you're an administrator, you can go to the today admin and see that same list of views. All right, so that's the last question that I can answer based on time. So I want to thank you all for attending and learning how the classic version compares to the platinum version, and hopefully this was very beneficial and not just a waste of your time. Um, I hope you got something out of this. If you go back to the help guide and look for webinars, you'll see past webinars and upcoming webinars, and if this one will probably be posted later today or tomorrow. I think it's usually within 24 hours, but if not, it should be in there by the end of the week. Thanks again, everybody, for attending, and have a great afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.